You know what my problem is? I do what I say I'm going to do. That's how I've ended up here, right this moment. I committed to doing a weekly show. This is it, by the way, the Slade Ham experiment. Cheers and welcome. I'm toasting you with water, but as my Canadian friends have told me, I often do on stage, I will nod to my audience and then I will distract myself before I drink and go on with my show. So I must take a sip if I'm going to toast you. So pause. Now we can proceed. I'm back in the Midnight Spaceship, by the way. My comfortable blue ambience. Feels different than a high-rise in Toronto. I did the last week in Ottawa, where we'll talk about the show and everything I've been developing there. But today, I'm here, like I said, because I committed to doing it. I said I was going to do a weekly show, and I know tomorrow I've got to tape the Whiskey Brothers, and I had already put an episode on ice. I had it waiting in the wings so that I wouldn't have to do an episode this week, and then I recorded it with Jeff Canada. It was a great interview, just shy of an hour and a half. We discuss a lot of things if you haven't seen it yet, and you would have seen it because it came out before this. I accidentally posted it, which has now taken away my ability to use it this week as a punt. So here we are, and I'm tired. That's why I knew I was going to be tired. Today was a travel day. I had a show last night. I hung out with my good friends in Ottawa. Lots of old comics, old club staff. My buddy Jason, who runs the club there, fantastic club owner. Who, by the way, I owe a thank you to. Jason, thank you for letting me come work out this new show there. A fantastic time. So we hung out until late hours, and then I had a flight this morning, which means wake up, pack all your stuff because you can't pack it the night before because it's your tripod and your camera and your this and the that, and plus whatever else you're flying back from Canada with. You got to put all that in your bag the next morning. So I get all that done. I go to the airport. I got 2 flights. It's really not even a big deal. I have a 30-minute layover in Newark. I changed flights to get it all eased out. Everything is flawless except United. I flew to Canada and I flew home. And I got 11 text messages from United about the flights. 3 of them, I think, were thanking me for sending stop to the other messages. Then there were twice as many app notifications, including a survey that they sent me a survey. I called them to change my flight from Newark from Ottawa. And then I got on the plane, and while I was on the plane, they sent me a survey. Then they sent me a message telling me the survey was about to expire. Then they sent me a message telling me the survey had expired. And then they sent me a message telling me that if I wanted to resubscribe for the survey that I did not subscribe to. So, United adding noise to the search for signal. I'm trying to distill it down. I say this weekly, ad nauseum, ad infinitum, ad something else Latin. There's too much noise, and I'm trying to find what's important. I'm trying to find the things that matter. So we've talked about I don't do the Facebook stuff and the Twitter stuff and all of that. But I have the inboxes. And these are some people I'm not messing with anymore. I just created a blanket policy last week. And it makes it so much easier. This is advice for you. If you have trouble saying no, a lot of us have trouble saying no. What I like to do is just pretend it's not personal. I'm not saying no to your dumb ask. I'm saying no to all dumb asks, and you just happen to be one of them. So I have a no No unsolicited you can't sell me anything on Facebook. I don't care if I need it. I don't care if you saw that I needed it. If we don't communicate, you don't get to reach out to me and try to sell me stuff in my inbox. Person I worked with in a restaurant 25 years ago. You can always tell. Here's a hint. If you want to know if the sales, the way they teach sales in any of these, I guess the whatever, the marketing things, the pyramid scheme stuff, the people selling wraps and facials and the little Etsy, all those little multi-level marketing programs, or insurance or real estate or cars, used car, all those jobs, wonderful jobs, but sell them to people that are looking for the thing. Don't reach out to me in my inbox because I don't care how desperately I need what you want. You did the modern day equivalent of knocking on my door. And that's the way you could tell. It's always a, hey, how you, there's almost a formula. And I guarantee you, I've not seen the formula, but I've seen enough emails and direct messages to know that there is certainly a template floating around out there in the world of insurance and real estate and whatnot. And it always starts out, you've seen it. Hi, it's me. I haven't seen you since blank. And that blank is whatever the last time we hung out together. You know what I mean? This battery's going to die on me. I know it is. And then the other side of it, they have to pitch you all their bullshit. Here's what I'm up to lately, and I thought I could save you a little bit of money and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, they mention something that they just recently saw on your page. Oh, hey, I just noticed, I saw that you were in Dallas too. I was just there and I really enjoyed it. It's the blank in the template there is the attempt to find some common ground based on a recent post they've made. It's such a con. You gotta long con me. I will fall for it eventually. Send me some messages just saying what's up without asking for anything. Just say, hey, I saw you were in Dallas. I really enjoyed Dallas. And then I would smile and go, wow, that's cool. And then the second or third time you send me a message, hey, I was thinking about the good old days when we worked at that restaurant. Remember? And then the third time, hey, I noticed you posted a picture that had your car. Is that your car? Because I do some insurance stuff. And then you don't feel like such a conniving little dog. At least you appeared concerned, right? And in the off chance that you had gotten in a car accident or some other unlikely disease had struck before you got around to pitching me, then I would have just thought, oh, they kind of cared about me. They were checking in on me. But now it's hopeless. You put it all in the same message. I'm buying your dumb insurance. So I have it might even save me money, but I'm not doing it. So I just have a blanket policy that whatever you're selling, whatever you're asking me for, I already had to do it with the charity stuff. Hey, can you share that? I can't share everything. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't even share my own stuff. And I can't put up a link to your, because some people got problems every day. I can't share all your GoFundMes. I would be a GoFundMe store. So just get a blanket policy. Makes it much easier. My other policy is I won't listen to your I'm unfriending recklessly the people who are insistent upon sharing their doom and gloom. Hey, I just thought you should know about. You know those people that I just thought you should know about? Those people who will send you, I don't know if you heard, but Dave, I don't know why I said Dave. Dave's my friend. I got to pick a name of somebody I don't know. But George, I feel like George gets to be should be the scapegoat for all terrible things in my show. I don't know if you heard, but George has stage 9 stomach cancer in his head. And I don't, if you didn't hear, I just thought you should know. And you're like, George. They're like, George, we worked together in that restaurant 25 years ago. Well, are you about to sell me insurance? No, George, you know who I'm talking about. He was our manager. And you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about George in about 24, 25 years. That makes sense. And I had some good memories with we'll call him George. But they were good back then. I hadn't thought about them in a long time. They're not hanging around. They certainly weren't in here just a little bit ago when you told me he had all that brain cancer in his arm or whatever. So now I feel bad. I didn't feel bad a minute ago. I didn't even know George was technically alive a minute ago. He was Schrodinger's George. And now I got to feel upset because you brought up that's so selfish. Just thought you should know. Why? Am I going to add the power of prayer to that? No. You deal with that and then tell me 2 years from now, hey, remember George? Yeah, he died a couple of years back. And then it's not so sudden or immediate. I don't have to start thinking back to those days in the kitchen when we were hanging out. No more of you. I thought you should knows. I'll tell you who else can go. Guys, I'm complaining, but I'm making policies, so I don't feel bad about it. I will flat out, I just about lost it today over a speakerphone. I should not feel this way. I should not feel this passionately about what other people do. I got headphones of my own. I just put them in. I mind my own business. That's usually what I do. But this dude in the airport today, maybe you can't hear. I'll give you that. I don't know why holding a phone to your ear directly would be less hearable than whatever the shit this is, where you just look at it. It's not reading the words. It's not karaoke. So I don't understand the difference between the two sounds. But I do understand why you would not do that in an airport next to a person when you're sitting there. This guy, just watch.
Yeah, I'll send you an email. How's that when I ask you?
Yeah.
Because Slade sent me the actual speakerphone.
Yeah.
So I can read it off. I thought it seemed like a weird menu. I'm going to get the stuffed chicken breast.
I am too, probably, just because that's probably the safest.
Yes, I know. I thought lamb chops. I've never seen anybody offers lamb chops.
Well, and I love lamb chops, and God knows they might be overcooked there.
Yes.
The filet could be overcooked.
For the health and comfort of the traveling public,
chicken
all
they can't
terminals are smoke-free. Smoking is permitted at designated curbside areas.
No, he's there right now in another part of. He finished judging. He was there judging this week. I'm going to be with Gene Blake, Manolo, my great friend, the Labrador man from Mexico. And Ernesto, Laura.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, it's going to be.
Ernesto's going to be judging?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's he going to be judging? Serious?
I don't know, but there's a ton of specialties they have too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'll notice some names were brought up in there. I'm not going to censor them. He didn't hide who he was talking to anybody. In fact, it was on display, full display. I take that. It got to me, therefore it gets to you. I was curious as to who, I don't know who the gentleman was that was talking, but I have pieced together that he is some sort of dog judge. That's what we're going to call it, some sort of judge for dog contest, like the Westminster Dog Show. I don't know, though. So originally when I heard him talking, I go, I wonder what kind of referee he is. Is he a World Series umpire, or is he a Little League T-ball umpire, right? There's a lot of ways, and I think dog breeds are already the dumbest thing that exists on the planet. I've said this before, you're just trimming them all down to little bitty worm dogs with no legs, teeny tiny little pocket dogs that just poke their heads out of your front breast pocket or purse. And eventually those become caterpillars, and they make cocoons, and they turn into beautiful butterfly tattoos. That is my religion. So this guy, I start Googling the names he brings up. Oh, well, I'm going to be with old Gene Blake. Gene Blake. He just said Gene Blake like this insufferable woman on the other end of the line who he just enjoys discussing loudly the merits of what wedding food you should get. I assume that was going to be a wedding. Maybe it was the food they're going to serve at a dog show, in which case I definitely would question the lamb chop. Nobody tells you where the losers end up. Turns out Ernesto Lara, who I guess is going to be judging the event with him coming up and sharing in the chicken, is a somewhat famous professional dog handler, according to the internet that I don't trust. But more impressive is Mr. Eugene Blake of Tulsa, Oklahoma. This man, a dapper African-American gentleman. This is from the Westminster Kennel Club. Mr. Eugene Blake of Tulsa, Oklahoma began his career in dogs in 1954 as a dog bather in a grooming shop in Houston, Texas. Look at that. One degree of connection I have with Mr. Eugene Blake. By 1957, he was exhibiting his own dogs of various breeds. Mr. Blake credits, you don't say, Hazel Ham. Hey, okay, now there's an extra M on the ham, but it's also my niece's name. It's a bit of a coincidence. Okay, you got me over here, and I looked at this guy, and he's actually, dude on speakerphone, kudos to you for being at least adjacent to Mr. Eugene Blake, who might be the finest dog judge on the planet. Should you find yourself in Tulsa, Oklahoma, swing on by. Say hello to Mr. Gene Blake. Tell him everyone's getting the chicken. Who else am I done with? I'm starting to test friends of mine. If you're a friend, pay attention. You want certain skill sets in your friends list, right? Your inner circle. You want them to be of a certain ilk, certain disciplines. Patience is a big one for me. I've spent a lot of my life around some gotta get my shit now motherfuckers. Hate to call them that. I've known a lot of people though that are now people. So I'm looking for people who appreciate delayed gratification. People who are savvy enough to know that a bird in the hand, if you want to be proverbial, is worth. No, wait, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. Two birds in a bush are worth. Two eventual birds in your hand are worth one bird in your hand now. What is that? All right, I totally got that proverb wrong. What is a proverb for for waiting for something. Aesop. We got one of those? Can I get a delayed gratification proverb? I'm not going to Google it. I want to so desperately, but I'm not gonna. I know it's not bird in the hand is worth two in a bush. That's telling you to eat the chickens in your basket before you put all your eggs in the hen house. Why don't I know what I'm talking about? Listen, my point is that my nephew, my only nephew, my one and only nephew, rock on, kid, appreciates it. There's a test you can do if you got children. This will tell you. I know some adults won't pass this test. So this is a good one for your kids. It's the marshmallow test. And you got to have a kid who's at least thinking age, right? They can't be young and soft-headed and dumb. You got to, you can't have to hold them up for this. They got to be self-sustaining. You know what I mean? They got to have learned how to move their avatar's legs. And they got to be able to talk a little bit. So 2, 3, somewhere in there. Get the big marshmallows, too. Those are the best. Those little big marshmallows. You don't want to leave them unsupervised with that. Today's kids, they're soft. They'll probably hurt themselves. So you like a big one. And you tell them, hey, we'll be right back. You and the person you made the kid with. Or just you. I don't know. I'll be right back. Whatever makes you happiest. But I'm going to leave this marshmallow here. And you can have it if you want it. But if it's still here when I get back, you can have 2 marshmallows. And that is hard for kids to do. To show that level of restraint. It's hard for grown-ups to do. As I got friends, can't do it. And the problem is, at some point in your life, you got to learn that skill. There are things that take time, specifically artistically, things that are specialized skills. Act like you just can skip all the hard part. We know so many people like that. I'm trying to not be that specifically with stand-up. I'm trying to, that's the reason for a big part of the absence online. Not a lot of, look at me, here's what's going on. I'm working on stuff. And a lot of that was taking place, and it all comes back to that. This last week in Ottawa, what a fantastic, fantastic way to wrap up a Canadian tour. Toronto remains my favorite comedy city in the world for a number of reasons that you proved over the course of the week. You helped me whip that show into shape there. But by the time I got it to Ottawa, the difference between the first night I did it, not the night I punted in Toronto, but the first night I did the real show, and to be as confident as I was Sunday night in Ottawa over 2 weeks, that's I learned some stuff. So I also, here's what I didn't tell you. We'll do this, and then I'll play a clip from the last show in Canada. But I was doing my spider joke in Toronto, and this man and a woman in the front row were looking up at me. And it's always men and women in the front row. You heard me talk about them. I wonder what they're up to. They got this look on their face, but they're looking at me, and it's making them look at each other. And I'm closing. I'm right in the middle of saying goodnight. And I go, what's happening? And the lady goes, you have a spider on your shoulder. And I look down, and now I had just done 20 minutes earlier in my show, 4 minutes on us eating spiders in our sleep. This recurrent theme in my thought process for some reason. And I looked down, and there was a little tannish white spider on my shoulder. Like a little Jiminy Cricket, just kicking it. Like, hey, I heard you were talking about spiders. I just came to see what was up. I'm here to represent the spider folk. an ambassador, if you will. And I looked down at the little ambassador and I went, and I ate him off my shoulder. Live on stage. There was no way I was not going to eat that spider after talking about eating spiders. Anyway. I would not do that in a vacuum. If you just put a spider on my shoulder, my gut instinct. Why would I say influence? My gut instinct would not be to eat a spider, but live and in the moment, it kind of happened. So I don't know. It was a total worthwhile trip. Jason Lawrence, you're a friend and a fantastic comic, and it's good to see my Canadian stages back alive. I'll leave you with this, a piece from that show. This is just crowd work, but this French family in the front row hadn't cracked a smile all night until I got on stage. So I like this in a crowd. You're not just laughing at everything. You guys are very economical with your laughter. Like you're holding on to it in case some funny shit happens later. And in this economy, you four are okay? You guys haven't blinked. Y'all haven't fucking blinked the whole show. The whole show. Did y'all wander in here? Is this community service? Do you have to be here? What happened? Whose idea was this? None of yours. What are you? Who brought them here? Who did this to me? Who brought them here to stare at me? All right, you did it? All right. Look, you laughed. You have teeth. I was wondering. All right, that's much better. I thought you were all mad hockey players with no teeth, and you're just gonna stare. That's part of your hat says loud and dirty, and you were neither of those things. You are quiet and confused. Let's get you a new hat. This is. We gonna make it, Ottawa. This is gonna be okay. Cheers to you and your ice. Fuck, that's some lemon in that drink. You lost your voice. That's cool. That's perfect. What do you have, scurvy? What is going on? What are you trying to... What, you trying to make it across the ocean without dying? What is the pussy? Jesus, just get a Hefeweizen. My God. Get something with fruit in it. Did she just order a poor person's fruit punch? I understand. Would you like some alcohol in the lemon? You almost smiled. I'm gonna take that. That's the Slade Ham Experiment. I'll see you guys on another episode soon. Go check out the interview with Jeff Canada, episode 21. It was right before this. See you soon.